this is Diane with Bolan-Beaty Boogie. I asked Mark to look at what happens to spirits who come into physical bodies and, for all intensive purposes, bring about change that affects a lot of us. And that change can, of course, on the surface look like abuse, dominance, destruction of societies, because obviously that's what many of us are experiencing here on the planet. And I said, could you look at it? I'm sure there's a lot of multiple things that can go into this. In order for change to happen and healing to occur, sometimes it has to be very widespread, and then we can make other choices about it, how we're going to relive it. And I said, but also on specific, maybe individual levels, if they didn't have a purpose to do this when they came down, was there things that happened to them? Did they change what their life path was going to be based on outside factors? So I asked him to look at that. At one point, an energy does come in, and Mark was finding it hard to get a name for it. And that often happens because it doesn't translate to English very often, easily. And so this energy was giving him a couple of different names, and it came up with Adolfo. And I was just like, wait a second, is this part of Hitler? And Mark was getting back and forth with that. It wasn't quite feeling, the energy wasn't feeling quite like that was going to be accepted. And so Mark was, I think, telling this energy, well, this isn't, the energy here is not accepting at this point in time that name because of the realization that that's who you were. And I got later on from Mark that this energy was about 3% of the physical Hitler. It was much, much evolved into the future, and it had evolved obviously at a frequency level, but the energy at this point in time on Earth wasn't really, at this interview at least, there was getting some, and I'm sure I was too, because I know healing is taking place right now, but it's still very difficult. So I think Mark in the background was just telling this energy, well, you know, you got to come up with something else, because I'm getting pushback when you're giving this name, because it's vibrating with with your past incarnation. But Mark, of course, was giving us that choice whether or not we wanted to speak to this energy. And today it just didn't seem like it was going to work. But I think the energy had a lot of information that it wanted to share. It does want to communicate with us when we're ready. Okay, so we do have a website, www.channelingmarc.com. There's a lot of great information on there if you would like to look at it. Yeah, here I am. Yeah, I'm here. This is Mark. Marc Bolan from the rock band T-Rex, now in spirit. Here I am, talking to you via Diane's body on Earth. Okay, so yes. Oh, yeah, and I have my friends here with me. Interdimensional and spirit energies, okay? We might need the scouts. We do have some scouts who travel with us as a way of protection, but also clearing pathways for us. And we might need you. Okay, so yeah, hold on. Okay, so welcome to the show this week. Diane has requested that we look into the energy of being a spirit, creative being, and what are the reasons that some of us may choose to lessen our connection to our source, okay, our spirit source, okay? Well, yeah, I think it's a great topic because it's obviously very current. Well, it's always current. And there are many different facets of this. We will only have time to probably cover a few, right? Okay, yeah, and are we going to, yeah, we might have some yeah, we might have some guests on the show who wish to talk about it as they study this. Okay. 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 Here we go. Here we go. Yeah. So I think. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. The guests are coming in. We do have some guests coming in. They are arriving as I speak. Okay. Okay. So let's look at this. Okay. So Diane is asking, okay, what is happening specifically in her country, but it happens to a lot of different countries, right? And organizations, okay? Now, she's saying, okay, well, these people, specifically the administration of her country, yeah, I mean, we don't normally get political, but this is, as we've said, more than just politics, okay? So, yeah, so she asked, okay, so these people didn't come in to this, well, they might have had plans, right? They might have had plans, but did they really come into this new life on Earth, this physical life on Earth, with these ideals about that? Yeah, one type of individual being better than another, or wanting to abuse other people, or taking charge over others, having control over others, and what type of personality would do this, right? So she had these questions, and we, yeah, well, what is it, him and Hod, okay, about discussing it. But yeah, we are, okay, so yeah, here's my guess, okay, yes, come in. Okay, both guests are coming in at once. Great. Thank you very much. Okay, professors, they are professors, okay. You are a professor. Are you a professor? Yeah, well, we use the term professor as somebody who is very learned in whatever they're studying, okay, whatever topic they're studying, or yeah. So you are studying what? Yeah, please come forward. So you are, yes, you are male. Yeah, you yeah, groovy outfit there. Yeah, Victoria. No. Dickens. Okay. Yeah, interesting. Well, you study history. Okay, that's what you're saying. You study history. Yeah, very London vibes. Did I know you? Do I know you? Other than this time? Oh, passing. Okay, passing acquaintance in another lifetime. Okay, great. Okay, what? Stephen. Okay, Stephen, thank you for coming on the show. So you are specifically, okay, so you have studied, now is this just this, yeah, human physical lives. Okay, human physical lives throughout history. Okay, so you're talking, well, you are talking, and it doesn't have to be necessarily a dictator type of energy. It could be any type of energy that, yeah, that basically disconnect. Okay, not really disconnect. We'll talk about that. Disconnects from source, love. Okay, and okay. Well, let's just talk about that now. Oh, let's introduce our other. Yeah, because disconnect is too strong a word, but okay. Yeah. So Stephen, hello. Okay, and yes. Okay, yes, please come in. Okay, you are also showing as male. Okay, can I describe you? Okay, so you were showing as a very hefty, large male, and not necessarily human. Okay, you're going a little bit back and forth. Okay, yeah. So sometimes energies or spirits will show themselves as human because it's easier for to describe them, and also our viewers are human. So it's sometimes they do that even though they're not necessarily. They do it as a courtesy. So, no, it doesn't matter to me. I can read whatever you want to present yourself at. You don't have to be human. Okay. Oh, okay. No, they're saying that they prefer it. They have studied other physical planets, but they also have studied humans, so they don't mind showing. Yeah, you don't mind showing yourself as human. Okay, so we have Professor Stephen and Professor. Okay, so yeah, you don't necessarily, okay, so it's going to be one of those names. Okay. Adolfo? Okay. Thank you. Adelpho? No. Oh boy, that was weird. That was weird. That was weird. It was called a scratch in the throat. Have I experienced that in this body before? No, not really. No, okay. No, I got that. No, hold on. No. Wrong name. Okay. Okay, hold on. Yeah. Well, they're giving me a lot of names, and that's why, can you pick one? Can you just pick one? John. Great, John. You don't look like a John. I know that's not really your name, but let's just go with that because we don't have all day. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So Professor John and Professor Stephen. Okay. Now, I think you have different specialties. Okay. Well, let's start with Stephen. Okay. Now, I said you study. Okay. Yeah. More. Well, it is kind of dictator energy, but you're saying it's much bigger than that. Okay, so let's just start with this, Diane's question. Okay, so let's say people come into the earth and they decide that as they grow up, as they grow up, there's a disconnect from their source. Now, can that be planned? Yeah, because in general, of course, spirit energy is love. It's love, okay? So at some point, Diane's asking, they must have either disconnected themselves. Is that possible? Or what's going on there? What's happened? Okay, so you're saying no. Of course, you cannot disconnect yourself from your source energy, from spirit energy, but you can close it down. Okay, you can choose not to see it. You can choose to, you can't eliminate it because you're always going to be connected to your source because you will need to go back there, obviously. Yes. So he is saying, okay, so it's influences. Okay, it's influences. And it is, yeah. So it could be a group of individuals. It could be a single individual. So this group, yeah. And yeah, so you're saying peer pressure is a big deal here. Okay. And the need to fit in. Okay, so that's very important to groups, or we'll just say groups or people, right. And it's different if you're comparing it to, it's hard to. Well, yeah, you're talking about animals, but obviously, yeah, because many groups of animals, like elephants, herds of elephants, okay, will band together. It's very important for them to be in their herd, in their group. But of course, their energy, their emotional state, which is very, 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 very high frequency and evolved. They would not do something like this. They would not maybe. No. I mean, of course, animals will hunt. Right. They hunt for food, and that might seem like a cruel thing, but of course they're animals, and that is their food. So, but in general, animals are they do not close themselves off from their source self. They stay in a high frequency state at all times. Okay. And this also has to do with logic in the brain, right? They work from instinct. Okay, so let's just go back to some situations, or why would people or groups choose to do this? Okay, so Professor Stephen. Wait, you want to be Roger? Oh, okay. My other guest is saying they would prefer to be Roger. Got it. Thank you. Okay. Yes. So please go ahead. Okay. So. Yeah, Professor Stephen is saying at some point, and it could be one individual point, it could be many. Now he's saying it's the majority of the time it's repetitive, and it's repetitive, not downgrading necessarily, but not kind of browbeating, but it's somebody who's taking on, and it's usually. Yeah. I mean, you wouldn't come in doing this or thinking this about yourself. It's been a repetitive power struggle, okay? And that makes many individuals insecure. insecure and not valuing who they are, not feeling empowered, actually. So when you think about groups or individuals who are using what they feel is a great power need, it's because they lack that in themselves, okay? So they feel insecure and they feel threatened, right? They feel threatened. So in order to boost themselves up and keep any type of, yeah, it's fake. It's all fake. It's all fake. It's all fake. But again, this is something that everyone chooses. Okay, everyone chooses. So it's not that this individual or a group decided, and we will talk about the group. Let's just talk about the individual so it's not so complicated. Okay, so let's say this individual, yeah, and it happens, as you're saying, probably throughout many years. It could be one specific event that triggered it, and then it just kept going. And the person at some point said, I'm going to accept this into my space. Okay, this is who I am going to become. Maybe they feel unfairly treated. They feel, like I said, ridiculed. They feel like their voice is not heard. And then they just keep taking on, they keep lessening their vibrancy to source, if you will call it that. And yes, I am seeing it as, like energy is often seen, connection to something or somebody else is a gold energy, a gold rope or rod, and it's your source when you come into when you come into your physical body. This connection to your source is very powerful, is very large, is very pure. And then you can change that. You can filter it out. You can, so some of these individuals, it's gotten much, much, much smaller, practically non-existent. It's not probably going to be, no, this is no judgment. This is actual looking at this type of energy, okay? And we are not, let's not go there. Let's not go there about, but it could be, very much smaller, a different color, not very clear. If you look through it, it could be muddied, or it could be, it would look like mud or rocks or something in it. So there's a lot of different reasons that an individual could do this, and we've listed some here, right? Okay, so yes, and if they do, okay, if they're feeling this about themselves and they want to change their surroundings because they feel the need to, and they need to have their surroundings support them. And then, and so they will reach out. They will reach out and see who they can get to go along with them, right? So it's power in numbers, as we've talked about before, or power in the majority of energy, right? That would be around a situation, right? Okay. No, I'm getting this from myself, and I'm also getting this from Professor Stephen, okay? Yes. So, so at some point, if this goes, if an individual feels, this is their form of creation, okay? It's a different form than many of us would prefer to do, obviously. It's a form of creation, obviously, but very muted, and it's what? So as this expands and grows, it will find, just like any type of cell, it will rapidly expand itself if it can find similar energy around it. Right. And it will band together, and then it will grow and grow until it is stopped. Okay, so so the need for this type of energy, or so I get what you're saying. Now. Many would feel that this energy needs to be stopped, right? Because, the Earth would definitely agree with it, okay? The Earth is wanting to expand and purify itself, and it needs humans' help. And it is very, very tired of back and forth, and it is looking for support that it is not getting. And the Earth, as we've talked about, is asking for the change for this, right? Right. But then there are other beings who come in, spirits who come in and have physical lives, and they're creative. And it's not a heavy creation. I mean, it's not a heavy energy. It's not weighing other energy down. It doesn't need to. It can expand and replicate, and it's a lighter frequency energy, right? Right. And so that will always be, yeah, I mean, it's going to expand more rapidly, that's for sure. That's for sure. But then there's this other energy that is not comfortable, as we've talked about before on the show, is not comfortable because it cannot raise itself to that energy. So when it sees other energies around it that want to create high frequencies, it will feel threatened, okay? And it will do whatever it can to stop it. Right. Because it can't survive in a high frequency, the 5D world, the 5D and up world. Okay, it's not comfortable there, and so it will react and it will panic and it will do what it can to bring that other energy, the higher frequency energy, back down where it is. Right. So that's basically what happens. Right. Okay. Yeah, and that's just and you're saying groups. Yeah. So that's what we were talking about. An individual could feel like this, and then it will look for others. He, she, they will look for others to work with, right? Because if you want to grow, if your intention is to overtake a large portion of the population, obviously you're going to need help. You're going to go out and find like-minded or like frequency individuals to assist you. And you could do whatever you can to entice them. But again, anyone who is trying to control others, it's a choice. It's a choice. Okay, whatever they say about somebody, maybe no, it's a choice. It's a choice that they have chosen. Okay. Yeah. Well, of course, there are some people who are threatened, but again, it is still a choice. It is still a choice. Okay. So okay. Thank you. Wait. Do we want to talk to? Okay. Did you want to bring somebody? No. Okay. We don't need to because we explained it. Okay. Thank you, Professor Stephen. Okay, Professor Roger. Okay, Roger. Yeah, you're happy with that name. Some energies and spirits, it does take me a while to get their names because it's not English. And of course, the brain that I'm using right now speaks in English, so it takes a little while. And then if I can't get that, or if that's not readily available, then they try some other options. Okay, but Roger's fine. Okay. Yeah. So okay, yes, as I said, you're not human. Oh, of course you're not human, but right. But you are showing more interdimensional energy. Right. And you say that you study. Yeah, but what is different with what you study and what Professor Stephen here studies? Okay. So Professor Stephen is past. What would be considered past energy, and you are future. What would be considered future? We won't get into the time thing today, but yeah. Okay, so you look more at maybe not Earth necessarily. You do know about the Earth, but your expertise is outside of the Earth, right? So we are doing a comparison here. Okay, so do you see this in other places? Right, where individuals will want to manipulate and overpower and coerce others. Okay, yeah. He said, "Oh, of course it does happen. He said, but you have to think about the fact that Earth is still relatively, compared to other planets, newly quote unquote civilized. Okay, where there are populations that come together and live in cities, and so there are a lot of planets obviously who have done what the Earth is experiencing now, and they're done with it. Okay, and they have either probably destroyed themselves, you're saying, or expanded to a higher frequency civilization that is flourishing. That is flourishing. Okay, and they've raised, by doing this, they have raised the frequency of their planet by taking care of it and by working together and yeah, and sharing. Right. And he's saying, well, the Earth is in a, yeah, well, especially the Earth is in a precarious place right now, which we've talked about, and especially the U.S., right? And so, yeah, it's up to all of you living on the Earth to band together. And right, and everyone knows that. Everyone knows this. But you were saying you were seeing from what would be considered future endeavors, right? That populations have experienced. How this happens, how a change can happen, okay? But he's saying again, to be mindful of the fact that, yeah, all planets who are flourishing now, who are at high frequencies, have experienced what you're experiencing right now, okay? Because it's a necessary growth. It's a necessary growth. And then it is up to the individuals on that specific planet which direction they want to go, right? So it can be one or the other. Yeah, and you were saying what? Yeah. Those who have chosen to stick with the lower frequency energies eventually die out, pretty much die out, because they are so into destruction that it's not a viable way of surviving. Right. Okay, very interesting. Okay, well, no, we're not going to ask that. I'm not going to ask that how you see the Earth coming out of this, or specifically a country like the States coming out of this, because there are because there are so many options still. Okay, yeah, there are options. Okay, so it's a very important time on the planet. Okay, a very important time. There were headways being made in some directions, and those had to be stomped down. That's what he's saying. So it's and that's the thing. Good point. So Professor Roger here is saying the frequency, even though the frequency of those more openly connected to their source is higher, it's not sometimes as forceful, because they are at peace with themselves. Okay, they see their surroundings as, it might not be ideal, not everything in somebody's life, but in general they feel a connection to their source. They feel a connection, a flourishing connection to those around them and their environments and the planet. And so that is where they are, and that is peaceful, that is contented. This other energy that is wanting to take over is usually more forceful and dynamic in a sense, because it is powered by resentment. It is powered by hate. It is powered by distrust. It is powered by insecurity. Right. So this tends to be a more forceful energy on a physical planet. So this is So this is how things like this often happen, and this is why it's important to watch. It's important to watch, and when those boundaries are crossed, that those who they must step up. They must step up, and and it's unfortunate because that those who are content and happy with their environments and their connection to their source have to basically get on guard, and change their pattern and their behavior in order to redirect this energy. So it is a battle of wills. It is basically a battle of wills, and this has been going on. You're saying, because you study, and Professor Stephen here has studied this on Earth. It's not only happening; it happens. It has happened all over the Earth. Okay. Of course. And so there has to be some, so it either eventually goes in one direction or another, whichever is going to be the more forceful and dominant, basically. Okay. Yeah, so very interesting. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, is that it for today? Okay. Yeah, did you guys want to say anything else? Is there anything else? Is there? No, no. Yeah, were we going to bring somebody on? No. Okay, yeah, we were thinking about bringing on somebody who's lived maybe, but no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do it. Okay, okay, great. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for talking. Anyone here have anything they want to add to this? No? Okay. Okay, then. I guess that's it for this week. Thank you very much for coming on the show. And yeah, I should be back next week. Okay.